Welcome to the fourth Wizards and Warlords Alpha video. I've been told that I glossed over quite a few details during the last video I made, so here's another one, and I'll try and take better time to go through what I'm doing, and hopefully that will give you some better insight into the game. Right, so I'll start up with a new game, and like last time, we'll go with the quick start. Turn this on and off by clicking this button. When we do quick start, we can choose the number of opponents and their difficulty, and they'll all just have the same difficulty. If we want further customization, like we want one easy opponent and one hard opponent, we have to go into the detail setup. Right, and now we are at the wizard selection. Over here on the left side, we have a list of templates. We have let's try and take a look at the Ogre Magi. Since last time, I've added some tooltips to these traits and starting research icons, which will give some of the info you need to make an informed choice about what template to pick. If we take a look at this one, we have alignment evil, which gives some diplomatic bonuses when interacting with evil factions, and some events and spells will require evil alignment. Naturally, good heroes and good kingdoms will be reluctant to cooperate with you. Then we have Intimidate, which gives a bonus again to diplomatic actions and reduces the unrest level in cities. It also helps when doing some actions called Tyranny, which is stuff like levying additional taxes on a city or crushing a rebellion in a particularly nasty fashion, stuff like that. And then we have Warmonger, which gives an increased ability to lead armies, better recruitment, and better morale for troops. So this is a brutal wall-like wizard. If we look at the starting research for the Ogre Magi, we have Minor Dark Magic, which gives 2 spells: Dark Sacrifice, Baleful Strength. First one is a ritual where we can sacrifice prisoners and slaves to give some mana, and the second one is an enchantment you can cast on a regiment, a unit, to give them additional strength. Then we have Minor War Magic, which gives us 2 spells: Berserker Rush, Soldier's Boon. Berserker Rush is mostly used to enchant your own troops, make them stronger in combat, make them charge, but it can be used to force enemy units to charge as well. And Soldier's Boon is a pretty basic enchantment, improving a regiment of soldiers. And it also unlocks the regiment type Red Caps. There's a small bug here actually, because you need the another trait, Fairy, to be able to get this regiment, but still shows here, so that's a bug actually. And then finally we have Basic Warfare, which helps unlock some regiments when recruiting. Speaking of Fairy, if we go to the Dryad template, see there's a trait here called Raise Fairy. This allows the summoning of fairies and gives a bonus with various primal energies and certain kinds of mana nodes. And it has Farsight, which gives the ability to reveal hexes and improves divination spells. Summoner, which is useful when summoning magical creatures, reduces upkeep and lowers the cost to summon them. Also reduces the chance of summoning mishaps. And the starting research for the Dryad is Minor Nature Magic, Minor Earth Magic, Minor Beast Magic. But let's go back to the Ogre Magi and choose that one. You see every time we click it, it generates a new random name. We can also give it a name ourselves, but let's just go with this one. Then we choose a sigil. There are 24 different sigil icons right now. Let's go with this little claw on a black background. Up here we see a short summary of the wizard we chose. What happened there was that it generated the game world, which is the terrain and the gods and cosmology, cultures, races, opponents, everything. Here we have our wizard tower. It's located in a plains hex in a province called Almlog. All the names are randomly generated as well. See, this province has mostly plains, a bit of desert, and a small forest on the eastern edge. And we have some silver, I think it was, yeah, silver here, and some gold. And nice resources to start out with. And next to our tower, we have a jungle here in the province of Hish. There's a city called Thetar. Let's take a look at that one. It's an elven city. It has a populace of 1, so it's a very small city. It's a village, it says up here. And we can see here some stats for the village. I'll go into these stats in a future video, so I won't really speak more about those now. And over here we have the notables and the ruler for the city. It's ruled by Mayor Latham, an elvish warrior. And there's an elvish seer and an elvish warrior in the city as well. And we can look here, see more info about them. Their age, culture, level, patron deity, traits, so forth. And there's a number over here. Combat they are. Alright, yeah. Let's go back and take a look at our own followers. In the top we have a couple of icons. They probably need some text so that it's easier to memorize what they do. So you don't have to memorize what they do, we can actually read it. The first one is where we choose research. You can either click this icon, or you can click this one, or before advancing the turn, if we have pending research to be chosen, then it won't let us, the game won't let us continue and we have to choose some research. So, right, let's see, get a list here of what research is available. This is randomly generated, and initially I had a design where there were fewer choices available, but that was kind of annoying because if you want to make a wizard that's strong in dragon, magic, and fire, or whatever, and then you only had 3 choices, and you could get into this annoying situation where you never really got the choices you wanted unlocked. So it's still random, but you have a pretty large amount of choices. And let's go with, we're this brutal wizard, let's go with some leadership. See here it's estimated 4 turns left. And researching this will allow us to choose one of our regiments as a personal guard, which will give them better stats, small bonus to morale and discipline. Second icon is military. And that's where we can recruit new units, create custom units if we have the required research, which we don't right now, so nothing will happen if I click it. But if we had researched golems, then we could create custom golems. And we currently have 3 regiments available for recruitment. This is determined by what cultures close to our tower and our research. As we research warfare and stuff like that, and also build barracks and various upgrades to a tower, it will unlock additional regiment choices. If we conquer a city, that will also allow us to recruit different kinds of regiments in that city. And you see here there's a summary of the unit stats. There's a movement, melee skill, shock, toughness, courage, discipline, strength, and armor. There's a cost for the unit. See, this one costs 7.5 gold and 1 food. We only have 5 gold, so we can't recruit that one right now. You can also see here the button is grayed out. Should probably be a bit more visible, but it is. And then we have these axemen. They cost 4 gold. We could recruit those, but we won't. And we have some spearmen. They're pretty cheap actually, so let's go with one of these. See here, there's 3 turns left, so they're ready. The next one, that's our followers. We have 3 followers. There are certain traits that will give additional followers, and some research will attract followers as well. First follower is a Minotaur Prophet. This portrait might not really look like a Minotaur, but I don't have a Minotaur portrait yet, so it will use something else. You can see the age, it's a middle-aged Minotaur. comes from a culture called the Heart Ghost Minotaur tribe, deity of Thurfjorn, and he has the traits lazy and lusty. These traits will affect various events, the success rate of missions, and stuff like that, and how the followers interact. Then we have a second follower, who's a satyr military officer. Again, doesn't really look like a satyr. There's no horns. Doesn't really look like goatee. He's got the traits cleave, commander, hedonistic, and trained troops. You'll always start out with a follower with the commander trait, which is really useful for commanding armies, and trained troops is also really useful for training troops. There's no task for this one right now. Inventory, see it's empty. Finally, we have a human warrior from the Dimgenes culture. The different deity. He's scarred, true grit, arbitrary, and loyal. That's a decent fellow. And like I mentioned last time, we can set one of our followers as a favorite follower. That will give additional experience points, and when that follower levels up, we can choose what trait or skill they will gain. Here where we have our diplomacy screen, you can see what other powers we know about. Right now we only know about this elven city of Thetal. It's a city-state with one settlement. Then we have our economy screen. You can see our resource. We have 5 lumber, 5 food. We could buy, sell more, and the prices will change depending on if we start selling a lot of a resource, the price will drop, and if we buy a lot, the price will rise. This is also where we can recruit new followers and hire mercenaries. See what we have available. There's a Minotaur mage, there's a tailor, an elvish military officer, and a satyr mathematician. The cost to hire these is somewhat high, so we can't afford that right now, but it's a useful way to gain additional followers if we've been unlucky and haven't been able to get that many through events. Also hire mercenaries, which is also really pricey. It's a way to quickly get some new troops. You see these high elven macemen, it's 50 gold, that's far beyond what we can afford, but they're pretty well equipped compared to the regiments we can raise ourselves, which are basically just unarmored axemen. These ones have heavy mace, plate mail, and tower shield, makes them much more formidable in combat. These Minotaur toad warriors have bows and leather armor. That's not really that impressive, but still they're Minotaur, so they're big and nasty. Finally, we can hire workers, which are used to... we're going to do a couple of things with workers. Let's try and take a look at that. Go to our tower. And this Add Worker button. You can see our workers. We have Silurk warriors and Knowledge warriors. They only have the labor skill, so yeah, they're not really that useful. Well, they are useful, but if they had additional skills, they'd give much better resource production. So yeah, what I did, I'll just move them again. But see, this is our resource production with one worker. We add an additional worker and we get more gold from our tower. Another use for workers is building stuff. We could build some farms, which will give additional food. It has a cost of 5 gold, 5 lumber. Yeah, and it says we're missing some gold. If we wanted to do that, we would assign a follower, so it's optional. We could make the project complete faster, and then we would add some workers. They would then build the farms, but we don't have the money to do that right now, so we won't. Finally, let's take a look at our army. It's a bunch of Vikings. There's a unit commander, champion Quasar for this one, and a war chief Billister. These are pretty decent actually. There's armored archers and some reavers that have like swords, bucklers. That's decent regiments actually for our army. Somewhat pricey upkeep, so we should better get some gold income soon. Then we have the Encyclopedia icon, which I've shown before, which is where you can go and look at additional details for the cultures. Before we had there was one of the, can't remember if it's one of our heroes or some. It was one of those available to hire. It wasn't. Yeah, we had this human warrior from the Gymgenes culture. You can see here the Gymgenes pretty. They have a lot of traits actually. Usually cultures won't have that many. They have chivalry. They ride dragon turtles. They like eagles. They occasionally ride demigryphs as well, like alchemy. They're lawful. Yeah, I won't recite them all, but these affect what regiments they have, the production of their cities, what buildings you can build in the cities, how they react to diplomacy and to various events. You can see their technology, social structure, philosophical orientation, alignment, and the primary race. What cities, settlements have this culture, and finally there's a list of the unit types. If we looked at the satyr culture, you can see they have fewer traits. They don't have cavalry because they have funny legs, so they're not good at riding. And apparently they like hares. You can also look at the various races. Here, there's the usual fantasy kinds of races, but occasionally it will generate a random race or procedurally generated race. It has in this case, called the Freebers. They can regenerate and they're icy. They have olive skin and they like earth magic. So, and yeah, we have the organizations in our world. It can be something like the Order of Dragon Knights. You can see here they're led by Grandmaster Argalia, and they're located in Figmouth Keep. It could be a cult like the Vigilant Mouth. They like the god Godalinda. So let's go and look at the god Godalinda. Here, it's a lesser deity of day and light. Resides in the plane of Immerwild. And all these gods and planes are randomly generated. One of our followers had Thurfjorn as a patron deity. He's a deity of loyalty, truth, and prophecy. I think actually, yeah, that was our Minusville prophet, so that's pretty fitting. And then we have our worker screen. This just gives a quick overview of our workers. We can't really do much from here. Should probably have some shortcuts for assigning the workers in this screen, but as I've mentioned before, the UI is still a work in progress. So while I can do everything and all the functionalities available, there's some things that the usability might not be as good as it should be. But I'll get around to that eventually. Alright, let's just move our regiment into this jungle. Seems like a great idea. Advance the turn. And that will be all for this time. Hopefully I went into a bit more detail about the stuff I'm clicking through very fast, so that you actually got some insight into what the game is about. For the next video I will try and be a bit more active and conquer some stuff, and yeah, see you next time.